In your book, your new book, The New Digital Age, you talked about empowerment of the people. You say that with the digital age, people can protest, people can mobilize dissidents, and governments will find it more difficult to control people.
Can I just add that one of the ways you want to say this is what's new. And what's new is that the Thai citizen has tremendous power now with this phone. That's new. They didn't have that before. A lot of power.
I'm not sure whether you are aware or not. We are now having a big protest, political protest in Thailand.
I think that's normal.
Normal, okay. What is interesting is, and it follows what your book says, that these protesters mobilize themselves through social media.
Of course they do.
Through mobile phone, through Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and they now can gather together in huge numbers, much larger than before. Now, it's a pity that the Prime Minister did not come today. She was supposed to open this seminar, but she was caught in this political problem. What would be your advice to the Thai Prime Minister in handling this kind of social change?
Well, the first thing I would say is, let's assume that there's another side to the story.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say there's the protesters and then the people who disagree with the protesters. And let's say the protesters are on one side and the government's on another. I would start by fighting the battle of ideas. And I would say that we disagree.
Yes.
But I'd have to explain why we disagree. I'd have to have really good facts. And I'd fight for the leadership position of ideas. And I'd say that if I were doing it and I were on the other side, I'd say, we disagree. They have a right to this view, but here's the other side. And I think that one of the characteristics of these devices is that not everyone's voice is right.
Yes.
There are people who don't tell the truth. There are people who have their own view. That's okay, right? But I'm a person who believes that if all of us have this debate, we will come to the right answer. So I think it starts, instead of fighting the use of mobile phones, embracing that with the power of an idea. And in a democracy, I think that's how it works. And this is a democracy. The best strategy is to embrace the technology with facts and ideas and be persuasive, right? The old model of controlling people by limiting their movement and disempowering them in countries doesn't work.
But you know that sometimes government cannot tell the truth.
Why not? Don't you think the governments should tell truths?
Well, they think the truth might hurt them.
Well, again, we at Google and I personally believe that the best approach for governments is transparency. And transparency means telling the truth. And there's good and there's bad. And I think, again, in a democracy, transparency is the protection of the citizen. It's truth-telling and so forth. I have no opinion on the political debates within the country.
Okay.
I have no opinion whatsoever. But I do have an opinion that everyone should tell the truth.
But in the social media, there are a lot of lies, falsehoods, half-truths. You think truth can win over in the social media battle?
I do, because my experience is that, let's use an example. We have someone who's a vociferous liar, clever liar. And this person gets 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people who are not too smart, who believes them, even though it's completely false. I've seen this many times. Maybe 7 or 8 or 9 people. And then somebody says, I'm going to check. And they discover that this person is a liar. And then they say, this person is a liar, these are the facts, these are the arguments, and so forth. In my experience, you have a first wave of a false claim. But very quickly now, very, very quickly, people look at that and they say, not true, and then other people believe them. I genuinely believe that the best answer for bad speech
Yes.
is more speech, right? Not limiting speech. And I'm certainly not, and Google is not in favor of filtering or limiting this kind of political debate. There are countries that do this. The most extreme is China.
Yes.
China just passed a law last week that if you have more than 500 people who are exposed to your idea, which is deemed dangerous to the society,
Yes.
you can be imprisoned. In China, every blogger has at least 500 people.
Yes.
Literally in China, every single one, because there's so many Chinese. That is a very chilling effect, especially if the criteria are arbitrary. So I think the standard should be truth-telling.
Yes.
I think we want to encourage all speech. I think that it may be difficult initially to sort out the truth tellers and the liars, but there are many, many, many highly educated, sophisticated people part of this country that want to know the truth. And I say I'm not an expert on Thailand at all, but I'm quite the expert in the United States.
Yes.
And I will tell you that in the United States, the media and partisan politics are the worst ever. This problem and that problem and so forth. But when you actually look at it, the vast majority of Americans look at one side, they look at another side, they listen, and they come to their own decision, usually the one that's the right one, usually based on fact.